So let's go into some astronomy and begin to line it up with personality traits. So when we begin to look at astrology, those of you who don't know, your sun sign is the zodiac sign that you were born under. But there's so much more than meets the eye when it comes to zodiac. It doesn't just go by that. It has to go with the different placements in your chart. For me, as an example, I'm a Gemini Sun, Gemini Chiron, and Gemini Lilith. So some would consider that a stellium, others would not. Yet I have a Sagittarius stellium. I have 4 planets in Sagittarius. So although I'm an air sign, I'm very fiery in my nature. Yet I appear to the world as a Leo, which is also a fire sign. So that, they're just a little taste, because I'm not going to tell y'all my birth chart. Today we are talking about the Pisces woman in general, not going into a super deep analysis because I'm not doing a breakdown on these women birth chart. When you begin to look at Pisces, Pisces is represented by 2 fish. In the biblical narrative, we see Yeshu 2 times, depending on what book in the New Testament you're reading. He began to feed the multitude of 5,000 and the multitude of 4,000 with 2 loaves, with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. This is when he was in Pisces. When we begin to look at the 2 fish, this is going to be the diploids, and the prefix DI means 2, which is where you get the prefix BI. The letter D and the letter B are linguistically interchangeable in some aspects. They're the reverse of one another and the synonymous meaning of one another as well. When you begin to look at the diploids, these are going to be the pairs at creation, or the zug, Z-U-G in Hebrew, which is going to be the etymological root of the word zygote. This is going to begin to form creation. This is why when you begin to see the emblem of the fish, it is literally the representation of life. It's very essential to understand that clams and fish without skins and fins are considered unclean. This is due to the fact that some classifications of oysters physically mimicked the female genitalia. When we also begin to look into the fish, the nomos in West Africa are what the Dogon are called. When you begin to look at nomos in Greek, this means law. The word nomos also means these small districts of 42 that was found in ancient Egypt in 1550 BC when the Dogon were in ancient Egypt. So these districts were broken up into 42, and they were of the elite rulers in Egypt of the Dogon. The Dogon began to use ancient astrology to discover the planetary system of Cyrus A and Cyrus B. When you begin to look at these nomes, Nome, in ancient Egypt, which are the 42 districts, they're found in Egypt in 1550 BC alongside the Eber's, E-B-E-R, papyrus. When we begin to look at the name of Eber in the book of Genesis, this is going to take us to the son of Shem. Eber's name means crossover, Passover, in reference to these Afro-Asiatic people groups leaving Iran, Iraq, ancient Mesopotamia, and crossing over the Euphrates River in 2181 BC to enter into Egypt, placing them in Egypt when the Eber's Papyrus was written. And in the Eber's Papyrus, this is where you begin to find medicinal resources for STDs, abortions, so on and so forth. So these nomos are also called fish gods. These are the ones who were stated to create at the beginning of Genesis. When you look at the emblem of the fish in Mesopotamia, where these people begin to come out of, Angelina, you could come in. They know I got kids. Where these people began to come out of, this is where you are going to get the god Enki. En is going to be An, which is the name of the sky father god in Mesopotamia, An. He is also called Anu. In ancient Egypt, he is called On. Potiphar was a priest of On, a priest of An, a priest of Anu. This is the sky or the heavens. Then when you begin to look at Enki's suffix ki, this is going to be the name Ki in ancient Mesopotamia, which is the name of the mother goddess that was creating in the Garden of Eden. Enki was one of the sons of An and Ki. This is when you look at the Ugaritic text of the Canaanite people, you will begin to see them called El and Asherah. Their offspring are called the Benai Elohim, or the sons of God. This is the divine council that is referred to in the book of Job 38 through 42, in the book of Psalms 104. The morning stars, your cherubim, your seraphim. This is where you begin to get the name of Baal, who was the storm god in Egypt, right? So when you begin to look at the fish emblem of Enki in Mesopotamia, this is the symbol of life, or the Ankh in Egypt. When you begin to look at the planet of rule over the Pisces, this is going to be Neptune. Neptune is a planet of great delusion. It is a planet of dream, of mirages, of seeing what's not there, which begins to present the opportunity to speak those things that be not as though they were. When those two fishes are balanced out, when they are weighed out. When you begin to look at Pisces women, we have began to see, just by these three that we are seeing, you see people pleasers. You see women that are prone to abusive relationships. You see women that are prone to narcissistic relationships. Women that are prone to codependency. Women that are my man, my man, my man, my man, when these men really don't be fooling with them. You see women that like to throw rocks and hide their hand, and really have a mean girl reputation when it comes to how they interact with other women, or they are known for homie hopping and just choosing as they will. When you begin to see a woman that is greatly ruled by Neptune, there's not really anything that another woman, an elder, or anything can do to convince her that she is in danger, because she is overtaken by her own delusion. So when you begin to deal with people that have a lot of Neptunian energy, this can begin to be transmuted. It could begin to be transmuted, because as you see, these women are high earning. These women are smart. They are at the top of their food chain, but they are prone to deception, addiction, escapism, and, as I forestated, delusion. They tend to blur the line between being the victim and being the predator. They're often caught up in their own reality. So, yeah, they like to create their own false narratives and feed into self-deceit. But, hey, just keep swimming. This is an analysis of women that are ruled by Neptune.